Good morning, everyone. It is February the 18th, 2025. Um, Today I wanted to talk about more about the comments from people, and I appreciate everyone who's commented on the channel over the weekend, and it's been quite the weekend with the weather that we've had here with the 70 centimeters of snow and blowing snow and the extreme cold. So it's been a rather long week with this going on. So today I just wanted to bring up some of the comments, and I'm going to comment a little back about them, but I really do appreciate everyone, and I tried to answer as many as I could. I'm not sure I got everybody, so I've got to go back, and if I put something on here, I'm going to try and answer your questions at the same time today. So I'm going to start with the first question, and from the first responder here. And they had to say, I have so much respect for people who build tiny homes for the homeless. It's not the answer, but at least people are trying to help them, and it's so much better than living on the streets. A place to call their own. It's the first step back into integration. So glad I came across your video. People need to care more. Then my response to that person was, if only the world could see it that way, and everyone could care about one another. We are all brothers and sisters, yet our differences are what make us all unique and special in our own way. Thank you for responding. And then there's another one came up here. This is from another viewer. Let's pretend the homeless do not exist, out of sight, out of mind. So my response to that, this is why we are in this crisis. The very people in power that could do something, we're all wearing blindfolds as an excuse to be blind to the situation. They failed to do something. When things were first signs of something wrong, were being ignored. And so that was my response. And in some cases, no, not everybody was ignoring it. Some people were definitely putting warnings out, but the people who really needed to listen didn't seem to be listening. And this was I would say before the pandemic that we were starting to see signs of this, and they ignored the signs, in my opinion, at that point. And the next question, and this is kind of funny, is how many are you housing? And that's a question mark there. So I was like, what are you talking about? And then they came back, how many are you? That's such a stupid question. The problem is there isn't any options for these people. At least this man and his team are trying to do something. They are trying to work with the city to get these people housed. They're doing everything they can to help these people while everyone turns away with blind eyes. So I think that was kind of back to my other previous comment as well, that people are getting angry. It just seems in some cases they're blind, but I can say that since the pandemic and more awareness with the crisis and what's happening, people are stepping forward. The governments are trying to step forward, but they're scratching their heads. They put money forward, but there's so many different roadblocks that I've been explaining over the months, basically, as I go through my videos. If you care to go through my videos, you see there's a lot of roadblocks to getting these people housed. And then the next one was, so they gratified the boarding houses, legislated against rooming houses, defunded the shelters, turned a blind eye to skyrocketing rents, allowed investment companies to buy up apartments, and now condemning tiny homes. They'll pay millions to buy up residences that were in its path. Why can't they buy up a few empty factories and put these tiny homes inside? From what I gather, the people using these homes are working poor people with jobs that can't compete in the rental market. Some are even essential workers like cleaners. So that was a really good comment there, because this is what I've been putting out. There's a lot of working people out there going to school. They can't afford rent. They find themselves on the streets, and that's not right either. That's why I'm really looking at these tiny homes. I think that might be at least a partial solution. It's only a Band-Aid solution, but I think it's a great solution. And then there's another person who's quite angry. These cities should be demanded to build affordable homes for all. Yeah, well, again, that's a major problem, because when we have the places to build, and they find the places to build, or even rebuild older homes and to convert them into apartments and stuff. Again, it's all a bureaucracy that everybody has to trip through before we can get anything done. And that has to be looked at in a crisis situation, that we need to do more to lower some of the standards, keep the safety standards, but at the same time make sure that we are making sure that people are being housed. And it just goes from one level of government to the other, and they can't get in lockstep with each other, and that's what the problem is, I think, a lot of the times too. And then there's another one here. NIMBYs are the worst. This man is a saint. I'm not sure what NIMBYs is, but I presume it's a new slang term, or term that I'm not familiar with. I am from my generation. But I just turned around, and my response, there are still good men out there. I like to give those men credit when I see it, and credit is well deserved as well. So there's a lot of good people out there, and this man is doing his best. If you look at the fact that he's only paying out he's paying $5,000 each for those little huts, or tiny homes to build in that park, and they're movable and everything, and he's prepared to build more that he can. You have to, this is, the governments aren't even giving people, ordinary people like you and me, credit for what we do. And we aren't even getting paid for it. I'm not getting paid for this, that's for sure. So I think they need to understand that we're doing what we can as human beings for other human beings, to try and ensure that they are as comfortable as as we are. And okay, the next one is we don't want housing the homeless to get in the way of our big tourist attractions. It's so popular. And then response, LOL, laugh out loud. I think this was in response to the video using the Kingston Penitentiary as a place for the homeless. So that was the one on the Kingston Pen there. And I put on my view as well on my introduction of what I felt. I'm not sure I want to be sleeping in an old prison myself. But when I look at it, and they're so hyped up at that point on it being a tourist attraction and bringing in money for the city, well, why not keep the Kingston Pen there, find another place, and some of that tourist money that's coming in from the old Kingston Pen, from the tourists, put some of that money forward aside so that we can build tiny homes and affordable housing for people. Good idea, perhaps? So using the old to help build a new. Why not? We could do that. And then there's another one here. What's wrong with you? They just can't put these homes wherever they want. Do you not understand that? And I also explained that in my intro to it. And so that was that part of it. And then again, the next one, those against the tiny houses should spend a night sleeping outdoors. It may change their thinking. My response, very much agree with that. Well, it's not like sleeping in a provincial park, sleeping out on our streets where you've got facilities and you're spaced apart and different campsites and stuff out there. It's much more livable, at least I feel. Much more comfortable. You certainly have clean air to breathe out in the parks. Much nicer situation, and they have showers and toilets in the provincial parks, very convenient for everybody that they don't necessarily have for the homeless on our streets. So provincial park would be more preferable at that point. And then someone also came up, more than 8,000 people in Ontario alone, and that's, I presume, these are statistics that someone came up on the homeless in Ontario. And then they also came up with, said 5,000 in Edmonton, where it's routinely minus 30 degrees for months, which is, of course, out in the prairies. They're getting that cold snap that we are right now, again, and it's been very cold out there this winter. So a lot of people have been suffering from that. And we just cannot have people out dying. And that's why I think the tiny homes are a great idea. And then I have a couple of stronger opinions on what people felt. I didn't necessarily get back to these two, but I'm going to put out these two comments here. Number one, I think it should be the city's fault that these people aren't being taken care of. They should be fined and investigated until a solution is formed. Your job is to run the city, which should also mean that your top priority over breathing and sleeping should be the well-being of every single person in your city, period. End of story. Anything else, you should be fired. And the second one, these cities should be demanded to build affordable homes for all. So these are some very, very strong comments, and I really appreciate everyone commenting on the video, and I try to get back to people, but this has been quite a weekend, and I put up a number of videos to catch up, and I'm basically caught up for what was going on from January and early February. There were so many videos coming in, and so I'm not going to I have one other thought, and what I did on the weekend to I advocate when I can. And we have an election coming up on the 27th of February. It's our municipal election. And Sunday we had a great time to meet and greet the candidates that we're electing for our municipal, not municipal, but I mean provincial, pardon me, it's a provincial election. Too many elections coming all at once here. And so there I was. Oh yes, well below, about minus 20 or so. Trudged out there. 70 centimeters of snow. Sidewalks weren't plowed, and I trudged my way because I had to walk there to the community center to do the meet and greet show with the politicians. But I think it was well worth it because I was explaining some of the things here that I've explained today, how you viewers feel on things, the way things are. And I was advocating, talking about the tiny homes. Now, one of the things that I had stated in my intro to introduction to the tiny homes is, why could the city not just find an empty lot and put these tiny homes on it? And I was talking to one of the people who were being voted in, that were one of our politicians, hopefully. Well, we'll see who gets voted in. But I was talking about this, about the tiny homes with that party. And it was interesting because I mentioned about the tiny homes, and can we not just put them on a vacant lot? Can the city not find a vacant lot and then do something as simple as we don't have to worry about them in the wintertime? Because why not just put one of those trailers that the construction sites have on, so it could be like an office and we could have social workers and people that are there to help them there permanently 24/7 to look after them, especially in the winter, because and so we don't have people freezing to death. And this made sense to me, and he was talking to me, and he was saying, yes, this makes perfectly logical sense to me as well. And because ironically, this gentleman that I was talking to, this candidate, he was in the construction business, and he said there's no reason why we couldn't do something like that. And those trailers he was talking about, I found another interesting thing that I didn't know about, was because a lot of places are very far away. You know, we've scattered all over the country. We've got communities, small communities, and they go and they build in a place, in a small community. And oftentimes the work crew don't even have a place to sleep, or they can't put them anywhere. So they have to bring these little trailers up, and the work crew actually has to sleep in them. So that was a new piece of information. So he didn't see why we couldn't bring one of those construction trailers up and have some services out of that trailer round the clock for them. So you get a lot, you space people out nicely. You have so many in that lot. You might find another lot, but you know, would be much better, because then they'd have their services right there without having to worry about building too much. I mean, it's only a band-aid solution, but it is a stepping stone in the right direction till we can get the affordable housing and the supportive housing all sorted out and built. So why can they not stay in something like that? It's certainly better than the tent cities that we're seeing, you know. And then they can make little rules and regulations. They could make like a little community, say it's a small lot, they have maybe 25 of them in there. It would be nice because it'd be a little lot for them, and they could clean up. It'd be like their own little village, you know, and they could kind of look after each other, because I know that a lot of the homeless, they do try to look after each other. And the workers would be there to help them look after each other, make sure that the garbage is cleaned up, make sure that everybody's okay. So I don't want to make the video too long today, but I just wanted to express another way of doing things. And I think a good way. At least it's a start in the right direction. And we get these people off the street, so they're certainly not freezing to death in winter, and they're not boiling to death or going to drop of heat stroke, and that in the summer. At least we can keep track of people. And, we have the workers there. Someone there either 24/7 around the clock, and even if they're there, say, 8, 9 o'clock at night, then they leave. They could have a security guard or someone in that office that I was talking about. So I'm going to leave it there for everyone today. You take care. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. And bye-bye.